Hello everybody, welcome back. Here we are on the rubbish laptop again, this time from a foreign country, that's right. I'm in Spain, so things are going to be a bit hit and miss when it comes to making videos. I'm here with two kids and then two nephews, two nieces. It's basically hardcore, so I don't know how I've managed to reserve this little piece of time so I can do this video, but I have. It's worth mentioning that I've not really been looking at the charts either. I've been basically either in some form of water, whether it's the sea or the pool or a shower. I'm basically one step away from being a mermaid at the moment. So yeah, charts are not really at the forefront of my day-to-day currently. But we'll start with the weekly, and the 4 hourly and the daily are going to come for Bitcoin, and we'll translate that to basically the rest of the crypto market, which, from what I have seen when I was flicking around on Twitter and this, that, and the other, people are still like very bearish, despite seeing $107,000 price for one Bitcoin, which is crazy. When you stand back and think about it, this is it's a very expensive Bitcoin, right? And it's still got further to run. It definitely does. The money flow index is creeping up quite high at this point, though. So it's 70 at the moment, which is what I would consider to be reasonably high on a weekly, but absolutely not bubble pop territory. And if we're considering what it's going to look like in September, I would expect to see it look very overheated, which means I'm still expecting high prices. So let's recap. This is no different. We've got the trend signal on the itchy cloud, so green portion leading, price action above the cloud, conversion baseline cross above the cloud, Chiku span above the price. This is a trend signal still trending. So the weekly is unchanged as far as the last video you've probably watched me make, or the last handful of videos where this trend signal has been in place. So it's all set in stone. We've avoided closing within this candle. Again, this Chiku span, if it did close inside the price action, you would have considered it to have been a cancelled trend signal, but it isn't. It's all fine, and it's all still sort of above all moving averages. It's all looking good. So the weekly is still intact and moving in the right direction. Don't be surprised to see a new all-time high this week. That's all I'm saying. As far as the weekly is concerned, it doesn't say that it has to happen this week, but it's trending and it's still trending and it's fine from a weekly perspective. The daily, now this is where things are looking a little interesting. So we're beginning to see the start of a trend signal on the daily. So what we've got, leading portion green, price action above the cloud, conversion baseline cross above the cloud here. You can't really see it very well, but that little dot signifies the positive cross. The only component of this four component signal that we don't have is the Chiku span is still deep in the price. In order to have a trend signal trend today, you'd have to close $112,000. So it would have to put in a new all-time high today to get the trend signal, and tomorrow as well. To be honest with you, tomorrow's the same price really. But then after that, all you really need to do is close above 108. The next day, 109, 110, 109, 110, 110. Then back down again, 109, 108. Then down here, 107, which is basically lower than where we are right now. So just over a week from now, you might even be seeing a trend signal on the daily, which is my favorite because they turn around quicker. So you've got a good setup really brewing, not confirmed on the daily. So weekly is good, thumbs up, green light. Daily, getting ready really for the same kind of setup that we really do like, which is those trend signals. And again, above all moving averages, they're all more or less in the right position. If we start a trend, then they'll all start to diverge, and you can use them as supports. So we had the golden cross retest on the 4 hourly, which is almost always a good place to try a V-shaped recovery from. So 4 hourly, finding a base around there. Now we've got a positive cross here. We're in the cloud, so there's no setup here for pump or trend. But what we are seeing is Bollinger Bands pinching, support holding on a golden cross, which usually gives roughly around 70% chance of a V-shaped recovery. So 4 hourly also looking quite good. So I don't know why people are massively bearish on this. $107,000 Bitcoin. I don't know what the exact problem is. It's not overheated. It's not broken below support. It is getting a trend signal on a weekly. It's brewing a trend signal on a daily. It's hit a golden cross on the 4 hourly. All of this, is pretty awesome, I would say. And I would be very surprised to see a breakdown from here. A dip down, that's fine. A dip down. And again, even if you go to the weekly, we can sustain a deep drop on this one and still maintain a trend signal. You know what I mean by that is this trend signal now, since we've got out of the danger zone, if we'd have dropped below $104,000 over the last couple of weeks, it would have been cancelled out. But because we've now moved into this little gap, you can see a move down to 95,000 or just above and still be bullish on this setup. This trend would still be bullish. Not only that, again, without having to draw too many lines across the screen all over the place, but if we were to drop down to this level, this this 95,000, where that candle begins, which is where you don't want to go lower than that, you would find yourself hitting the 20 moving average on the weekly as well, which again gives you a 65% chance of a bounce and then a recovery from there. So that is pretty good. Bloody hell, it's noisy in Spain, isn't it? Absolutely noisy in Spain. So as far as Bitcoin is concerned, it's looking really good. And if we do come down to 95,000, it's not bearish, it's bullish. It's an opportunity. That's a super long, that's a position you want to take. You want to go crazy, that's fine, that's the place to do it from. With a tight stop loss, obviously, because it wouldn't take long to know if you're wrong. You lose this portion, then you are bearish. You are bearish to 70,000 and then see where you go from there. Probably at that point go lower than 70,000. At this point, we're either going straight up or we're dipping down to the lowest would be 95,000, where you take a position and look for a move all the way up into wherever it goes between now and September. So I have no reason to be bearish on this. Structurally, it's pretty sweet, to be honest with you. We've got contingency for lower. We've got expectation for higher. You know, we've got the comfort of looking at this on a weekly, going, okay, this should all work out as we expected between now and September. And then we'll transfer that bullishness of Bitcoin for the rest of the market, because that's always the best way to look at it. You think about Bitcoin, you think of the market. It's not obviously the right way to do it, because obviously altcoins generally are not being influenced by Bitcoin for the most part, but at least they're not going to be going down. I think maybe Ethereum and all these other things I'll address for the Patreon. If you want to join the Patreon, you can. I'm not able to do streams at the moment just because it's just very difficult to find time away to do that. And I suppose it's not really fair on the kids because they don't really go abroad much. So, you know, they need me in the pool, obviously, and in the sea to play with, but also just to keep them bloody safe. But I am going to do long form videos for people who make requests for whatever it is that they want to see. So join the Patreon, leave a message on the posts that I've made. Tell me what altcoins, stocks, commodities, whatever it is that you want me to look at, and I will find some time this week, you know, an hour or more, to make a big fat video just for the Patreon members, and I'll address all your trading pairs and questions. Other than that, though, I'll leave it with you there. I am not bearish on this market. I'm certainly not bearish on Bitcoin, to be honest with you. Obviously, every individual altcoin is different. I can't comment to things I haven't seen. But looking at Bitcoin, I'm absolutely not concerned. So if it goes up, great. If it goes down, that's fine. So long as it doesn't break and close below 95,000 on a weekly, we are good to go for higher, definitely, as far as the way I interpret the charts are concerned. And like I say, I'm just a person that trades, for a living. And so all I can tell you is that, I generally make more money than I lose. However, I admit, as anyone should, I do lose money. Of course I lose money. This is trading. It's not, there's no crystal ball. It's the way you interpret the charts and how you mitigate risk and manage risk. That's a very important part of this. So I will accept when I'm wrong, but at the moment we can go to 95,000, bounce to higher, or what it looks like to me is that actually we probably won't do that. I think it's more likely that we do go straight up from here. But if we don't, 95,000 is the line in the sand for the bulls. Really, that's the last chance you get, and it would be a good chance, to be honest, if you got it. So just be prepared for that, because if it does happen, altcoins will not have a good time. They're going to be having a horrendous time. But usually the biggest moves in crypto are from altcoins when they have the biggest, dirtiest, most horrible drop, but the market generally holds up in a bullish structure, which it currently is doing. Right, thank you for watching. I hope you have a nice day. Take it easy.